I would like to ask Alex Cohen, Mazkir Bnei Akiva, to address the Kehillah.
Chief Rabbi Lord Sachs, Your Excellency, Rabbi Mervis, distinguished guests, Rabbanim Chaverim. Tonight, we join together as a community to celebrate Israel's independence. Every year, Bnei Akiva has led Anglo-Jewry in our celebration, our pride and our dedication to the Jewish state. But this year, before we start to celebrate, we pause to reflect on the loss of a person who was there at the very founding of the state. This year, we pause to remember Aryeh Handler, the inspiration and driving force behind Bnei Akiva. Many people believed that the most significant moment in his life was witnessing the Declaration of Independence. I really felt that I was present when history was made, Aryeh said. But was this the most significant moment in Aryeh's life? Aryeh's ability to appreciate that he was living through the making of history, as prophesied to us, is a lesson to us all. But what is most inspiring about Aryeh's life is not what he witnessed, but what he did, the active role which he played in the founding of the State of Israel, his chalutziyut, his pioneering. Aryeh Handler's creation of the Hakshara program in the UK, first at Crick Castle, and lastly in Thaxted, strengthened Israel immeasurably. The graduates of that program overcame tremendous obstacles to establish kibbutzim, including Kibbutz Lavi and Bet Rimon. On my own Hakshara, I was privileged to work at Lavi, hearing from one of the founders her story. Her religious Zionist ideology inspired her not only to make Aliyah, but to live in an inhospitable area with no running water nor electricity, motivated solely by her desire to contribute to the State of Israel. This was their chalutziyut, their pioneering spirit. Although we educate and tell stories about these early pioneers, we know that times have changed. Bnei Akiva must ask itself a challenging question which dawned on me that day. Is chalutziyut dead? Can pioneering ever happen in the same way? How, after the swamps have been drained and the kibbutzim established, can pioneering retain any relevance? Today, Israel no longer needs that form of pioneering, but we should remember that nobody told the early pioneers that the biggest problem facing the Jewish people was the lack of a homeland. They realized this and looked to address it through their chalutziyut. Our mission is to find the biggest challenges facing Israel today and do what we can to help overcome them. Bnei Akiva has a clear and unequivocal message. Chalutziyut is still very much alive and kicking. In Bnei Akiva's true spirit of role model education, our Bogrim are contributing to the State of Israel in a huge array of fields. Some are working in education, others are plumbers, some in law. Just like these early pioneers, they are identifying challenges which may not be apparent to all, but more than just identifying these challenges, they are finding solutions to them too. An example of this can be found in Ambassador Taub, a Boger of Bnei Akiva, who identified ways in which he could contribute to Israel in the legal and diplomatic fields. He didn't merely comment from the diaspora. Ambassador Taub made Aliyah and became a modern-day chalutz. Zvulun Orlev, the head of the Knesset Education Committee, has said, "It is almost impossible to find an aspect of Israeli life that does not involve a former Bnei Akiva UK member." By working in Israel, they are contributing to our country, helping Israel to defy the odds and in little more than 60 years become the flourishing country which we all love. However, chalutziyut can often be too narrowly defined. Aryeh Handler and the pioneers who preceded us made a real contribution to the agricultural output of the fledgling State of Israel. But their most significant contribution was surely their emphatic declaration that our religious Zionist ideology need not mean withdrawing from society, but rather demands active engagement. Bnei Akiva's early generation of chalutzim identified and overcame a problem which many at the time did not even appreciate existed: the perceived passivity of the religious world. Aryeh helped to ensure that religious Zionists played an active role in the beginning of the flowering of our redemption, Reishit Smechat Geulatenu. Our embrace of this ideology and the flourishing of the state over the past 64 years should bring with it much pride. 80 years after Rav Kook passed away, many of his prophecies have been fulfilled. Many, but not all. Sadly, his vision of a new era of harmony and unity for the Jewish people and for all humanity seem as far away as ever. As religious Zionists, we still believe that our blend of Zionism and authentic Judaism can be a catalyst to a more harmonious and united Israel. We know there's a long way to go, but our movement continues to play its part. As a shining example, there are 4 alumni of Bnei Akiva UK working as rabbis for Torah, ensuring that Orthodox weddings are accessible and meaningful to all Israelis. But we must also acknowledge that so much more can and must be done. This is today's frontier for Chalutziot. It is in this spirit that a madrich of mine, and of many people sitting here tonight, managed to perform a great act of Chalutziot in our times. This madrich managed to perform this Chalutziot despite not surviving to live out his dreams. This madrich was Yoni Jesner. As we move from Yom Hazikaron to Yom HaAtzmaut, amidst a myriad of personal stories, I find myself focusing on Yoni, who was killed almost 10 years ago. I think of all that he has taught me and so many others. This is why Yom HaAtzmaut comes immediately after Yom HaZikaron. By recalling the tremendous sacrifices made by those whom we commemorate on Yom HaZikaron, we challenge ourselves to realize their aims and ambitions. On Yom HaAtzmaut, we should recommit to continue their Chalutziot or to embark upon pioneering projects of our own. Through his quiet actions, in keeping with the true spirit of Chalutziot, Yoni managed to identify and suggest solutions to a problem which many of us did not fully appreciate. A renewed focus on mitzvot ben adam lachavero is a key driver of greater unity. The importance of being a good person is often all too easy to neglect. It is for this reason that I believe that Yoni's behavior has had such an impact on me. Yoni's behavior and attitude is best evidenced by the note which he wrote to himself, advice to himself, which he was carrying on that tragic day. Whether it is Yoni imploring himself never to raise his voice or to not bore people by complaining and moaning to them about things, we have learned a great deal from him. And his teachings have not only been received by his chanechim, they have been learned by his peers, his madrichim, and indirectly thousands more. These teachings have reverberated around the world, but have been most strongly felt in Israel, where his life was so cruelly taken. Whether through those who he came into contact with in Israel, or his friends from the UK who have since made Aliyah, his teachings have helped to improve Israeli society. Chalutziot lives on. Aryeh Handler declared through his actions that religious Zionism was an active rather than passive ideology. Yoni Jesner inspired a generation of religious Zionists along the path of Ahavat Yisrael. At first, many people doubted whether religious Jews could play a leading role in the creation of the Zionist state. In our time, people have begun to doubt whether religious Zionists can be a positive force for Jewish unity. Religious Zionism can and must continue to answer the doubters. That is Bnei Akiva's message to the Jewish people. The state of Israel has evolved, and so have the challenges we face. We have a moral imperative to supply solutions which reflect this. Draining swamps cannot solve the social welfare crisis. Milking cows will not make for a more tolerant society. We in this room have just as many opportunities for Chalutziot as those who have come before us. We just need to find new outlets. This pioneering spirit has led the movement to evolve to meet the needs of young people today. We proudly proclaim that the Facebook generation of Bayanics are not apathetic. Our educational message is crossing new frontiers with the launch of the YouTube Choveret and the iPhone app. Our ideology, rooted in the same ideals as our predecessors, can have an even louder voice. On our Machanot, Svivot and Hashira programs, you will find the most passionate young people in the country, educating, inspiring and leading. Bnei Akiva continues to be relevant, now more than ever. Our ideology of Torah, Avodah and Aliyah demands no less. Chag Sameach.